So I want to talk about the difference between physical empathy and analytical empathy. There is really a big difference because if we know the difference, it's the difference between connecting better and being more strategic in the process instead of repeating the same loop of what we've always known, what we've always done, and the kinds of people we've always surrounded ourselves with. Now, this strategy can actually be used sort of in a manipulative way. Narcissists tend to use this for, getting what they want. And I want you to use it as a way to expand your self-awareness. It's sort of a mind hack that's going to help you connect with different people that you might not have been able to connect with before and create different dynamics in the relationships you may already be in. So I want you to use it for good. If you're new here, I'm Ketra Thompson, and I am the creator of the Confident Connection Method. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you'd like to learn more, there are links in the description below about how you can work with me. You can set up a completely complimentary consultation call so we can chat and get to the heart of what's going on. Now, first I want to explore what each of these things are. Now, physical empathy is when you can relate with someone, right? When you've had experiences that are similar to their experiences, their personal experiences are a lot like yours. And this makes it really easy to connect with these kinds of people because you have a similar story or you have a similar experience. And this type of connection is great. But it also keeps you in a loop of connecting with the same types of people in the same types of experiences, getting the same kinds of results. It keeps you stuck in the pattern that's already programmed in your mind. And it can actually lead to more toxic situations if that's what you've had in your past. If you grew up in dysfunction, you bond over shared trauma, and now that's your common link is your shared trauma and not the new you that you're trying to create or the new dynamic that you'd like to create. And so your brain has this confirmation bias, and it's always looking for evidence of what it believes to be true in the world around it. And so because of that, it's easy to mirror someone that we relate to, that we feel like we can validate their experience and they can validate ours. And there's some benefit in that, especially if you've been in a situation where you haven't been validated and you need that validation. But if this is your primary mode for connection and building relationships and creating the life you want, this is going to keep you in a rut because we are programming our brain from birth to age 7 with our experiences. Well, we're programming our subconscious mind, really. And our subconscious mind controls over 95% of everything we think, feel, and do. Now, while we're programming it, we don't have any discernment. We aren't able to see things from a mature perspective. And so a lot of the programs that go in there can be about, when our needs aren't getting met, we might feel like, well, maybe I'm unlovable, maybe I'm unworthy. And so these programs and beliefs are driving our behavior as we move forward. Now, there's other things that can contribute to that. It can be, trauma and complex trauma and other life experiences, but a lot of times those are kind of cementing in the old beliefs that were there from the beginning. And even if they're still not something that you want to create a belief system that you keep looking for because you're just going to draw the same thing into your life. And so this is how people really get into a rut. This is how people keep choosing the same situations, the same relationships, or even if they're in a committed relationship, why they keep going around and around and around with the same arguments, with the same passive-aggressive behavior, with the same conclusions that come to mind about how to address this person or the self-protective functions. And that's what we want to stop. We don't want to stay in that same place forever. I mean, at least I don't. I don't know. Maybe you do, but I doubt it. Because when we're in that rut, that means we're not feeling like there's a lot of growth happening. There's not a lot of expansion of who we are, of our mind, of our imagination, and ultimately what we're creating in our life. And so I want to talk about analytical empathy. It's different. And this requires us to look at why someone is the way they are. So even if we don't like them, we need to be able to look at why they are the way they are, aside from our assumptions about it. Now, we might assume that they are this way and that way because of our own life experience. Our life experience has said, well, this thing happened to me, and so I'm like this. This is how they are. That's not accurate because we don't have the same perceptions as someone else when they were doing this subconscious programming. And so this takes effort. It requires you to challenge your confirmation bias. And that's not an easy task because that confirmation bias has been there forever in your life and it feels right. And so when you challenge the confirmation bias, you are able to expand the possibilities of what you're interpreting. And so this truly is taking on the perspective of someone else and really stepping into what conditions formed their perspective. It expands your worldview in a huge way. And so this really allows you to connect with a wide range of people. Not only does it expand the type of people you can connect with, but it expands the way that you think about how you connect with the people you already have in your life. So if you're struggling in this same dynamic and pattern in the relationship you're in, it's because you haven't been able to see outside of it. You haven't been able to see outside of yourself or the other person or really step into what this other person has as their perspective, but how it was formed even, their experiential perspective. Now, if you treat this like a science experiment, like something that you're going to work on expanding in yourself, then you're not going to see it as such a chore. If you can start being curious about someone else's thoughts, feelings, and perspectives, and you can ask those questions, you're going to get more insight. You might not even get the clearest answer because sometimes people don't know why they behave the way they do. But when you understand maybe their upbringing, their relationship to their parents, things that happened in their life, even adult experiences, you can start to put together why they might feel the way they do. And so when we do this, we've got to step out of our own programming. That programming, and maybe even the complex trauma we received as adults, is coloring our view. It truly is coloring the way we see the world because our brain likes familiar. It wants familiar, even if familiar isn't healthy. This is why so many people who grow up with alcoholic parents marry an alcoholic. This is why so many people who have a narcissistic parent end up with someone narcissistic. Because there's a part of your brain that wants to reclaim the old story that it didn't have success with. It wants to now win the scenario so it can be proven worthy and lovable. But also, it just simply feels familiar. It's not even a conscious choice. It's a subconscious drawing toward something that reminds them of some time in their life, usually when they were really young. So this keeps us in a mindset of limited possibilities. It's actually like stopping a dream for your life before it even starts. It keeps you in a very narrow focus, doesn't allow your brain to expand into other possibilities. It doesn't allow for outside of the box thinking. It keeps you in a really narrow space mentally. And it tends to do that with the people that you have in your life because of these brain barriers that you have. So this is how we really continue this pattern. And we don't want to. We keep choosing the same person. They might look different or look different on paper, but then no, they still have the same dysfunction or same issues. We keep making the same mistakes in our relationships. We keep having the reactive behaviors on our part. When someone else behaves a certain way to us, we have an automatic reaction. And then we behave in the same way, we get passive aggressive, we do the same things that we learned or that we've done before, and it just keeps us on a hamster wheel. So we're basically getting the same results we've always gotten, and nothing's changing. And so in order to change this, you really have to embrace a new way of looking at everything continually. You have to continually choose to step out of your perspective and out of your normal way of thinking and to take on someone else's perspective or life experiences. Now, the narcissist does this. They watch someone, they study them, they see what they like, they see what they don't like, they see what they value the most, and then They meet those needs through their love bombing. They give them all the things they can see that they want, and it creates a false perception. So that's not what we're trying to do. We want to actually step into this so we can cultivate healthy empathy, so we can cultivate connections with people that we wouldn't normally let in our life, not to use them or manipulate them, but so that we can expand ourselves. Now, the narcissist doesn't want to expand themselves. They use that as a ploy, like a trick, to get that person hooked, and then once they have that commitment, they switch, like flipping a light switch almost. And they go back to this manipulative, controlling thing. And if they feel like they're losing the person, they'll pull them in with some love bombing, but then they'll go back. So that's a ploy that isn't about them changing and growing. So for you, this has got to be about you stepping into a new way of being to navigate the world in a new way because you want to grow and because you want to open your eyes to other possibilities. And you always hear this when people make comments like, all men are this way, all women are this way. They're stuck. They're stuck in this clouded mind movie that's going on in their brain that is all based on their past experiences and conditioning, and it does not allow for possibilities that are outside of that. And so this rut is honestly the most miserable place that you can be. The rut is going against what humanity is here for. We're here to expand. We're here to grow. We're here to be creative and imaginative, and all of this gets stifled if we're in this little narrow rut. We keep thinking the same way and doing the same things and getting the same results. And you know the saying, misery loves company? Well, that is like this pattern. You're miserable in the rut, but you keep attracting people who fit that same description, who get in the rut with you because misery loves company. And so you can stay in that miserable pattern or you can do something different. So to do something different, you have got to either break the subconscious programming or you have to constantly will yourself with willpower to really take on a new perspective of someone else, to be imaginative with it. And so in my Confident Connection method, I combine the hypnotherapy process with relational mind coaching to get you there rapidly because you don't have access to that subconscious mind, which is driving over 95% of everything you think, feel, and do. And so you're in this constant battle, fighting against programming that is so strong. It's a powerhouse, and it's exhausting to fight against it on your own if you aren't able to actually do the deep subconscious work that allows you to reframe those things. So if you want to have some DIY steps you can do right now, the first thing you can do is you can get curious about why you're making an assumption about someone else. This is a process of looking inside of you. Why do I think that? Where did that assumption come from? What did I experience that led me to that assumption? You've got to start challenging what's going on inside of you. It has to start there because you're not going to get any insight into this repetitive subconscious programming that's been playing if you don't start questioning yourself. Now, the next step you can take is you can really imagine being in their life circumstances. Imagine it like stepping into a movie scene. You're in their life circumstances and you notice all the details and you notice the feelings inside and you pay attention to what's going on. That's going to help you take on the perspective of someone else so that you have the ability to connect with someone outside of your little rut. But it requires a lot of intentionality. So the fastest way to do this is to deal with the subconscious triggers and beliefs that are driving those behaviors. And reframing those, what it really does is it allows you to connect with other people in a totally new way because you don't have that trigger inside you anymore. And you aren't making automatic assumptions about other people. When you're really hard on yourself, when you're kind of a bully to yourself, you tend to bully and judge other people. So the most judgmental people are very judgmental against themselves. And usually that's because of childhood programming. And so as we realize that, why we're making these judgments about people, it's because we make these judgments about ourselves. Maybe we grew up in homes that valued these things and put this judgmentalness in us, or were critical of us, or we saw them be critical of other people. And now this is what we do in our subconscious programming. We've got to break out of that in order to be different. And I don't know if you've seen, some of my videos about having an edge, but the reality is that if we want to keep a connection with someone, we have to keep growing, because if we don't, we just get flat and boring. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be going 100 miles an hour doing a million things. What it means is you have to have a growth mindset, because as you're learning new things and you're sharing that with your partner, that is intriguing. They're like, oh, interesting, okay. Even if it's something, let's say it's a man who's learning how to fly fish. Maybe their wife has no interest in fly fishing whatsoever, but that fly fishing is taking some of your attention, it's taking some of your time, and now that spouse goes, I want to learn about this because I feel like there's a piece of you I don't understand now. They might want to learn about it. They might want to hear you talk about it, or they might seek to create more connection with you because they're feeling that there's a pull away a little bit. And so it's a delicate balance and a dance, and we don't want to have these big extremes here and here where we're just, totally cutting someone off and then totally going all in. That's, trauma bond territory. That's narcissistic behavior. But we do want to have an interesting dance where we stay interested with each other because we are open and we are curious. And when we deal with those subconscious programs and triggers, we can more easily do that because we stop trying to control everything around us. We allow ourselves to receive. We allow ourselves to experience the joy that we've been blocking by thinking we don't deserve it or we're not worthy. And all of this changes everything. It allows us to step into someone else's perspective in a whole new way. And I truly believe that every human being deserves to be connected to their self-worth in a really deep, powerful way. That is how we are meant to be. And the world oftentimes creates a wedge so that we aren't even connected to who we once were before the world told us who to be. So if you'd like help with that, check out that link in the description below. I'd love to chat with you. And if this content resonates with you, I would really appreciate it if you would click like and subscribe so you can be notified every time I post a new video. And until next time, I hope you curate a life by your own design.